So today in the cybersecurity session, we have been going through the OWASP top 10. And today we would be considering the number seven, number seven of the OWASP top 10. And our trainer, Mr. Joseph, he would be taking us through the session. So, Mr. Joseph, the class is yours.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Emmanuel. Thanks for the intro. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. How are we doing today?
We are doing fine, sir.
Are we great? Are we good? I guess we are. Great to hear. All right. So I don't want to take so much time. I'm sharing my screen today. Actually, we're trying to look at things around security logging and monitoring failure, right? Security logging and monitoring failures, right? And this is in relation to OWASP 9. This in relation to OWASP 9. What do we understand by security logging? What do we understand by security logging? Anyone? You can type it in the chat. You can speak up, whichever applies. Yes. What do you understand by security logging and monitoring failures? Hello? Of course. All right, someone says, I don't know what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing username and password. Honestly, are you referring to the class or you're referring to something else? What's the context of the username and password?
I'm referring to the class. The username and password is that one talks about the security login.
Yeah, so how do you understand it? How exactly do you understand how do you want to put it in context of security logging and monitoring failures? How do you want to put it in context?
When you are not
I know
using the right.
username. Go ahead, honesty. Go ahead, sir.
When you are not using the right username and password.
When you're not using the right username and password, well, we're talking about we're actually speaking to what you're saying, but in the context of security logging and monitoring, in terms of security logging and monitoring, we see these things as events, as patterns, right? We see all of these things as events, as patterns, right?
Yes, sir.
Right? Use of default admin password and checking log activities. Exactly. Richard, you're absolutely right. So in terms of logging, you want to like watch out for events. You want to watch out for activities, right? You want to watch out for activities. You want to watch out for events. You want to watch out for incidents. And that's what logging is, right? So you're supposed to have like a solution, like a solution. So just imagine your phone now. I mean, sometimes your phone can give you some kind of data, right? Your phone can tell you your screen usage, right? Have we seen that before? Please, let's be very let's engage ourselves. I don't want
Yes,
you've been, I want you to talk, right? Because you
yes,
need to be intentional if you want to understand these things appropriately, right? So
yes, sir.
have you seen situations where your phone sends you a report about your phone usage?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what do we call that? Do we call that logging or do we call that monitoring?
That is monitoring.
Okay. Why do you say it's monitoring?
It's monitoring the usage of my, what am I going to
Of your
call it?
phone, right?
Of my
Exactly,
phone, yeah.
right? Yeah. And of course, when he monitors the reports, what do we think the report is? The report that comes, what do we think it is? Right? What do we think the report is? It's data. It's giving you data based on the monitoring it has done. It has logged some data, right? It has
Yes.
logged some data.
Yes.
Exactly. So when it doesn't do that, when it doesn't do that thing, that login, just let's take for instance that your phone now, it's not logging in the necessary data, and then you receive the um data usage report, your screen usage report, and you don't see anything. What do you think happened there?
So your question, can you
Is a
rephrase your
failure.
question? Okay.
So what I'm saying in essence is, if that data, that report that comes to you from based on the monitoring of your phone usage, right? If that report comes to
Yeah.
you and you don't find the necessary data inside that report, what do we call that what do we say that situation? What do we tag that situation where monitoring and logging has been done? What do we call it? What do we say it is?
That is failure.
What do we say has happened?
Failure.
I want to exactly. It's a failure. That's just a simple concept about it. Security logging and monitoring failures, right?
Monetary
Of
failure.
course, as a cybersecurity expert, you don't want to be a security guard who slept through the haste. So just imagine now, just imagine that there's something going on with your phone, and because you didn't get the data that you needed, you know, based on the reports from your phone usage, you didn't get the data you needed. If there's a problem with your phone, will you be able to know? Will you know that there's a problem with the phone since you didn't get the data? Will you know there's a problem?
No.
Exactly. So that's where failure comes in. And of course, OWASP, which is speaking to the security logging and monitoring failure, speaking to OWASP 9, is part of the top 10 OWASP vulnerability. So, of course, we know there are bad guys. We know there are hackers. We know there are, very terrible people out there that, want to take advantage. So once they see that you're not getting that necessary information, they can, you know, take advantage of that vulnerability, right? They can take advantage of that vulnerability. And of course, if you don't know what's happening within your system, what's going to happen? There can be a breach. So if I'm in your phone now and your phone has sent you a report, a phone usage report, and then in the reports, you've not seen that I've gotten access to your phone, what do you think will happen? Of course, we know it's going to be a problem, right?
Yes. There's
Of
going
course,
to
we know
be a
it's going to
problem
be a
for the
problem.
hacker to penetrate my phone.
Oh, you think it will be a problem for the hackers to penetrate your phone? That's interesting, Mr. Honesty. That's very interesting. Well, we should not look at it that way, right? We should not look at it that way. As long as technology is evolving, there is every possibility that you might come in, your system can be attacked, right? Your system can be attacked. So that's why OWASP is saying that you need to ensure that your applications, like your systems, they have what you call audit trails, right? They have what you call audit trails where you can investigate, where you can carry out investigation, especially when your systems are not working appropriately. It helps you see the big picture. It helps you see the big picture, right? It helps you see the big picture. And these are some of the things, these are some of the key areas where we say login fails. One, failure to detect critical events. So just imagine now if there's a CCTV in your house and that CCTV is redundant. When I say redundant, is not working. And everybody keeps saying this CCTV is working, is working. And then in the night, when you are sleeping, thieves come into your house. What happens? You probably be sleeping, right? And you might not even know thieves came into your house. Till when you
Yes.
wake up in the morning and then you see your sitting room is laughing, and your sitting room and your rooms are your sitting room and your kitchen is laughing very loudly, meaning like they've taken everything in your house, maybe like petty thieves. So that's where logging failure exists, where there's failure to detect critical events, absence of alerts on suspicious behavior. So just imagine now you enter the bank. As you enter the bank, maybe you just, go some way, somehow, you gain access into one of their vaults, right? And as you gain access into the vaults, normally, of course, we know that the banks, they are going to put an alert system. Maybe as you open the door, alarm is supposed to ring, bang, bang, bang. But at this point in time, there's no alert. That's a login failure, right? That's a login failure.
Really.
So inadequate context in logs, user ID, IP, time. You see that you are not seeing the user ID, you're not seeing the timestamp of when the event happened. Like for instance, now your CCTV, if it's storing all the information, it will store time. So time, Mr. Honesty was at this location, right? But if it's not doing that, then that's a login failure. It's not logging, right? Then logs not protected. That means I can gain access into your CCTV system. I can gain access into your video surveillance system and modify the dates of whatever data is within that your system. That's a login failure. Forensic weaknesses, insufficient retention or detail. So just imagine now you've configured your video surveillance system to say that all the videos in this system should not last more than 24 hours. And then thieves come into, maybe you say 12 hours, and then thieves come to your house, and then things are stolen. And the police say, okay, let's see the CCTV. Then you are going to the database, you are trying to spool out the information, and then you find out everything is wiped out. That is a login failure. Anomaly, ignorance, where you see patterns, like this thing seems to be happening. Like, I'm seeing, you're supposed to see a pattern, but you're not seeing the pattern. That is, maybe the detection system is not seeing some certain things, then it's a problem. It could be as a result of misconfiguration of an application. right? And then slow response, delayed reactions to incidents, right? These are some of the logging failures. Tampering risk. Someone can gain access to the data and erase all the information. These are logging failures. These are login failures. So that can be as a result of ghost activity. Someone just walking through entering your environment and then gaining access to your data. And then you're crying at the end of everything. So it's that's what it's talking about, right? That's what it's speaking to. That is what it's speaking to. You need to either log it or you lose it. And of course, you want to log it. That is what you want to do. These are the things you want to log. So in an organization, there are a lot of solutions. There are a lot of solutions that they use to log. So in each of the technology stack, database, they will have their own logging, they will have their own audit trail system. They will have their logging system. Application will have its own audit trail system where they log information. And then you can also have a specialized logging monitoring tool, that can actually check all the applications, check all your systems, your network, everything, every how data is moving from one system to another system, right? Is able to map everything and give details. That is the expectation of a proper monitoring solution. It should be able to log it, because if it doesn't log it, then the system will lose it. And of course, these are some of the things you need to log. Login attempts. So for instance, now I'm trying to log into Facebook or trying to log into what's that application? TikTok, within an organization. Of course, I want to see all of those details, all of those things, all of those events that are ongoing, that is happening. I want to see everything. That even if it's a success, even if it's a login at even if the login attempt was successful or if it was unsuccessful, I want to see it. You know why? Because the bad guys can run analysis. We'll see some of these things in the practical. The bad guys can run analysis based on the behavior of your system. So if they are going to do what they call a brute force attack can be like they'll be sending, trying many usernames and password, right? There are some parameters the bad guys can see, and then they will use it to attack your organization. And they will be able to know if you are getting the alerts on your systems. So just imagine now your system is not seeing all of these things. That's what I was saying. So your phone now, Mr. Honesty, if I entered your phone now and I've hacked into your phone one way or the other, you don't know. As a bad guy now, I'm not saying that's me. I'm saying as a bad guy, if I hack into your phone now, I'm going to definitely get in, do what I want to do, and get out without you knowing if you have a login and monitoring failure. Right? So these are all the things you want to log. You want to IP address. It must speak the IP. So if I'm the one, my system must have an address. You must be able to, tie it to that address, my IP address. Oh, this IP address, they are trying to attempt, to log into my system. They want to, take my data, or they want to, take over the system, get admin rights. So these are things that really happens, right? These are things that really happens. And that was why OWASP came up with the OWASP top 10, and how you can, handle such things. Of course, you can't be speaking about you can't be speaking about logging if the rights the right functions have not been, attributed into your technology stack. So for your applications, as a developer, if you are going to come up with your application, you should know that as a requirement, we must have an audit trail, something that can tell us how our system is behaving. That's the expectation, right? So in terms of AppSec, is very important. And then monitoring is another aspect. What I see is what I'll record. That's what it's just saying. Monitoring and logging. What I see, I record. What is happening now? You are just, you are trying to know what's happening within your environment. So let's take for instance now in your estate, thief comes. There's maybe like an armed robbery that happened within the estate. Of course, if the police are going to come to you, they're going to ask, what happened? You monitored the event, you saw what happened, and then you are going to log that information. So giving the information to the police is called logging. You are logging that information. So it's the same way applications and systems behave. That is the expectation. That's what we expect of systems, how systems need to behave. They need to be able to monitor every function, everything within the technology stack. They must be able to monitor everything, and not just monitor it, they also need to be able to come up with log everything it sees. I logged in, oh, it was successful, the system is going to log it. I logged in, oh, it was not successful, the system is going to log it. As an individual, I have logged in from two different locations. In 10 minutes, the system needs to log it, right? So these are the things. You cannot monitor with holes. So imagine a sieve now. Imagine a sieve. You are monitoring, and there are plenty holes within your monitoring system. Your system will fail. There will be a failure. And these are some of the things here. Your SIM is, like I said, is a specialized tool. What's your your different layers of technologies, your the different layers in the technological stack, your applications, whatever they don't see, it is expected that this specialized system, a SIM, should see it, right?
Yes.
Incident patterns, they need to be, if it's not being seen, then it's a failure. Event correlation, your system has to be very proactive. Bring point A, bring event A, event B together. Why is this happening? How can someone log in here, and then in another 5 minutes the person has logged in again? Your system should be able to detect things like that. Visibility gaps in your cloud API and service layers. Escalation delays. Is your IPS and your IDS working? Your intrusion detection system and your IPS, your intrusion prevention system. How are they efficient enough based on the rules that you have defined in your policies. Because this thing actually happens. And you know that when application security fails, your defense has broken. That is just the truth about it, right? So it's very important. We'll be seeing some of these things. What is the answer? What is the answer to ensuring that you don't have holes within your monitoring system? You want to answer the signal before it's too late, right? What's S? Set alerts. You see some shops, as you open the door to enter the shop, a bell will ring, bam, bam, because they want to know everyone who is coming into the shop. Sorry, excuse me. So you need to set alerts. Of course, at the shop, at the front of the shop, they would have put a CCTV to be seeing anyone that comes in. As you enter the shop, the bell will ring. In fact, on some of the products, if you look at some of the products, they put some kind of tag. Like if you go into all these phone shops, I don't know if we've seen it. If you go into all these phone shops, they put some kind of tags and then when you try to remove the tag, if you try to go out with the phone and the tag, an alarm will be triggered. But in the case where the alarm is not triggered, then it's a failure, there's a problem. So it says answer the signal before it's too late. Set alerts. Define your rules in your system. Include key events. Somebody logging in America now. He's logging in Sudan. You need to be able to configure your monitoring systems to cover such kind of events. Get context: who, where, when, what. Noisy log stream. We don't want false positives, false positives. Quality over quantity. Alerts in real time. So this is very critical in terms of a business. Like we said here already, application security fails, so does your defense. Log down log files, protect from tampering. You need to be able to protect that because you might want to use it for investigation, forensics. So it's very, very important. It's very, very important that you know these things. Don't let your systems sleep through an attack. Don't be don't be Jonah. That's the word. Don't be a Jonah. Don't let your systems sleep through an attack. So when you think your systems are monitoring and then you find out they are not monitoring, what happens? Is a problem. So don't let your system sleep through an attack. Of course, when your systems your systems are monitoring and they see any kind of threats, it's able to detect immediately. You're able to detect it immediately. Imagine going into a bank or going to a mall and then you want to steal. Of course, all of these things, all of these controls, putting tags, bells, putting uh um CCTVs, video surveillance. Of course, it's good to do those things, but if they are not properly configured, if they are not maintained, if they are not active, then it's a problem. That means your systems are slipping through an attack. So we need to log, monitor, and act. So let's quickly get into the practical side of things so that we can, close out. Are we following? Are we following?
Yes, we are
Are we
following, sir.
following?
Yes, we are following, but which type of software are we going to install on our system to monitor any attack that is coming?
Okay, you're supposed to install Docker. Docker. Have you heard of Docker? You're supposed to install Docker and Bob Suit.
Okay, I've heard of Bonsuit, but I don't know of Donka. What is the difference between both?
Yeah, so Docker is kind of like a container suit. It's a container where you can actually, run your applications, right? Are you with me?
Okay. Yes, I'm with you. Where I can run my applications as well, sir.
Yeah, so you can launch your applications. They are lightweight, kind of like a lightweight a VM, a machine that you can actually run your applications. So for instance, we want to, test a vulnerable web application. So we want to use Docker because Docker can show us the logs to see
Okay.
if all of those components that you're supposed to see that we said here, all those components that we said you're supposed to see here, that we expect to see, if we'll see them in the log, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do we have any questions before we go ahead?
No, sir, you can
Any
go ahead.
questions? All right, great. All right, great. So we can all try to install Docker. It's not a hard process. It's not something that is hard. Let me try and put it in the chat for you. Let me get the web page, and then I'll share it with you. You can download it. But because of time, we'll just probably, see how it works from my
Okay.
ends. Yeah, and maybe later on we can do the practicals ourselves, but I'll share the link with you. Please give me a second. I'm trying to get the web page. All right, I think we have it here. Let me put it now. Can we confirm if we've seen it?
Yes, we have seen it.
All right, beautiful. So that's the website. We can actually download it real time and also work with it, but we'll need GitHub. Do we have GitHub? Do we have GitHub? Do we have a GitHub account?
No, sir.
Okay, we need to also get open GitHub. Have you been in the class from the beginning of the training. I don't know if you've been in been in the class from the beginning of the training,
No, I
because
just
that
started
will
the
be
class
the only
yesterday.
way. Okay, okay. All right, so this is what, can you see my screen? Can you
No, I'm
see
not
my
seeing your screen.
screen?
No.
All right, please let me know when my screen is up.
Okay, I'm seeing your screen.
All right, great. So this is the Docker desktop, right? So what you see here are some kind of lightweight containers where you can use to, launch your applications, right? Where we can use to launch our applications. So this is Docker desktop, right? So when you download this, of course, you need to create an account, right? And remember, anytime you're trying to do things in relation to vulnerability scans, you want to, run simulations, it's always good to use damned, they call them damned vulnerability uh web applications, right? So if we search in the Docker Hub, you see a lot of these applications, and then we can run them, we can launch them using Docker, right? We can launch them using Docker. Sorry, do you have a question?
Okay.
All right, great. So we can see a lot, of, so any, you can come up, you can bring up, you can also develop your own container. Well, you can also you can get some from GitHub as well. You can also get from Docker Hub as well. So I'm going to go to CMD, right? CMD. I already have I already have a container running. I've already created a Docker image, right? I've created a Docker image. Are we following? So what I did here in this case was I just came here, and of course, CMD, if you just search out CMD command prompt, it will take you here, right? So we can check what containers are live, right? It will tell you what container is live, the image, the command, creator status, and all of those things, right? It will tell you all of those things. As you can see, I have created I've created a container. However, the database is still coming up. It's still coming up. It's still coming up. So let's wait a moment. I thought this would have been done by now. It actually takes a while. So do we know how I got here? Hello? Can anyone explain to me how we got here?
No, sir.
I thought we were following.
I didn't follow this step.
Okay, have we downloaded? Have you tried to see if you can download Docker?
No, but sir, I cannot download it on my phone now.
No, you can't download on your phone. You can only download on your laptop.
On my laptop, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, there's light now. Okay. They just brought up the power now, so I was not having power. So that was the
So
reason
you
why I
know,
was using only phone to listen to the
okay,
program.
okay, so Docker will just help you launch your application. That's what it will just help you do, right? It will help you launch your application.
Okay, we help me to launch my application.
Exactly. That's why we are using it. And of course, we see already it integrates with our our command prompt. So I, you know, as soon as I clone the application, as soon as the application is has been cloned and I've created the image, it's you can actually, launch the application from you can actually launch the application right from here, and that's what we're waiting for to start. Network volume container. The container is still starting, right? Container deep. Okay, I think this one, the database has started. Let me just check. Let me check if we can launch it now. Okay, still it's not, so it's not launched because database has not come up. Still have to hold on a bit because we've not binded it to the port, so we need to wait.
Joseph, bring my laptop charger. No, no, look at it. Bring laptop charger there. It's on. Check it underneath.
You're still waiting. This has not come up yet. It's taking forever.
Leave me.
So just before it comes up, uh, I already did a demo before it came up, right? So what happened here was I logged in into the application. Can we see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So I logged into the application, and of course, when I logged into the application, Bob Suit was able to intercept the my post requests. Bob Suit was able to intercept my posts and get requests, right? And of course, what are we trying to achieve? We wanted to send it to the intruder, right? We want to see if we can do we want to send it to the intruder to see if we can attack the site, right? It's a vulnerable site. It's a vulnerable site. Hopefully this will come up so that I can show you, you know, I hope this will come up soon so that I can show you. It's still running. Has not been created yet. So we need this to come up so that we can give you in details what is happening. Has anyone been able to download Docker?
Just put on my system.
Mr. Richard, have you been able to download Docker? Right. So before that comes up, we're going to send this to intruder. Right? We're going to send this to intruder. We want to carry out a brute force attack. And of course, if you open Bob suit and if you open intruder, we've seen some of the parameters here, right? We've seen the password. We've intercepted this. We've seen the password. We've seen the user ID, the password and the username rather, right? So what do we want to do next? We want to configure the payloads. So what are the payloads? When we say the payloads here is the password and the username, the value of the password and the username, right? The value of the password and the username. So if we do this, what we can do is clear the payload first to ensure that there's no addition yet. So we'll clear this, right? We'll clear this. And of course, what's our attack here? Our attack here is sniper. We're using the sniper attack, right? So what does the sniper attack actually do? It actually lets you, test one payload position at a time. That's what the sniper attack does. So in other words, like what the sniper attack does, it tries all the usernames. All the usernames. So all the usernames will be applying here. Are you with me? So this is the payload here. This is the payload here. Let's do this.
Hello, sir.
I'm with you. Please go ahead, sir.
So what you are doing actually now is not on the Docker platform. It's in the one suite.
No, it's on the Docker platform. So I can send you, like I said, we can look for vulnerable web applications on the Docker Hub, right? So like I said, if we come to Docker Hub, we can search for we can search for vulnerable web applications. Damn vulnerable web applications, right? So we can pull them. So let me send something to the chat to you guys. Let me send something to you guys in the chat. I'm going to need you to clone this. Open your CMDB. Have you opened your CMDB? So go to your Windows button, just search CMDB, or rather CMD.
CMD.
Yes. Then I need you to put this. I'm going to share something in the chat. This is a Git link. I need you to put this in your CMD. Have you opened your command prompt?
I've opened my computers. But I'm not viewing any information. Chat.
Yeah, I've just shared it with you. Have you seen it?
Yes, I've seen it.
You know what? Use this one. I'm going to share another one with you. Sorry, use this one. Don't use that one. What's it saying? Have you started already?
No, I've not started.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to share another thing again in the chat with you. Rather, use this. So this is an application we're trying to, launch using Docker. Docker is going to help us launch this application. So I've shared it with you. Run this in your command prompt. Mr. Richard, are you following?
Okay, I should just
I'm
type
with
CD.
you. I'm with you.
All right, sir. Okay, so I need us to open our CMD. Have we installed Docker? Has anyone installed Docker?
No, I'm still downloading.
Okay, great. Now, you might not be able to, you might not be able to launch this now because you don't have Docker. But I'm just putting this here as a vulnerable web application you can use when you've installed Docker, right? So you might not necessarily need to use Docker alone. There are other platforms you can use. I'm going to put that
Joseph,
in the chat. You can,
Byron and paper.
sorry, go ahead. So you can also use XAMPP, right? You can also use XAMPP. But you have to do that manually. You have to do that manually. You can also use Kali Linux. I think.
Mr. Joseph, we're not seeing your screen. You're not
Oh,
sharing.
sorry. I'm sure there's an error. I'm gonna share back again. 1 second. Give me a second, guys. All right, cool. Let me know if my screen is up and running.
Yes, it is up now.
All right, great. So I'm going to go back and check this again to see if it's still not yet. It's still not up. The database is not up yet. Still waiting. The network stack is up, volume up, database itself is not up. The application is up, has been created, has been launched, but still waiting for the DB. All right, that's fine. So let's just go ahead and let me just walk you through Bob Suit so that we understand what I'm saying, right? So want to carry out an attack, want to do what they call a brute force, right? Want to do a brute force attack. Is everybody on Bob Suit? Okay, we might not necessarily be able to, do these things real time, but here's what it is, right? I'm going to, flag this admin, and of course, I'm going to be adding my payloads, right? I'm going to be adding my payloads. Are we following?
So are we still going to enter it
So let me just tell you how
on
I
the
got
command
here.
prompt?
So let me tell you how I got here, right? It's because this is taking time to come up. If this had come up, I would have taken you to the site, right? I would have taken you to the local host. I would have taken you to the site, did the login, and then I'll be able to intercept it on Bob Suits. So this was the demo I ran. This was the demo I ran before when I after I deleted uh the the image, the Docker image. After I deleted the container, this is before I deleted the container. This was the simulation I ran, right? This was the simulation I ran. So yeah, so after which I came here. I came to proxy, right? So under proxy, I'll see the history of everything, all my requests, client to server requests, everything. I'll see everything. So of course, I've come to the post requests, the one that I used to authenticate on the login page. So what I did now, I've sent this to intruder, this particular one to intruder, this post request, right? Of course, it came out 200. It was a valid request, right? It logged me in, right? So the post request, if we are going to carry out a brute force attack, we want to try, when I say brute force attack, we want to try as many as usernames and passwords that can, you know, try to we can actually try to see if those usernames and password will be able to log in the application, gain access to the resources. So what we want to now do is carry out a brute force. How do we carry out the brute force? We're going to send to intruder. How did I get to intruder? Intruder is here. It's just beside proxy. How I got to intruder, of course, I right click on the request, right? On the post request, and I just click here, send to intruder. Of course, I come to intruder. I've seen my request here. There's a lot already. I've seen my request here already, right? And of course, let me clear this. I've tried to put in my payload. My payload. I want to clear all of it, so we start all over again. And of course, we want to carry out a sniper attack. We want to carry out a sniper attack. Are we following? Hello, we seem very quiet. Hello. Right. So I want to carry out a sniper attack. And what's the sniper attack? Like I said, this lets you actually, test one payload position at a time. And we use and what does that mean? What does that mean? So this sniper here, this sniper attack, it involves, like what it's going to do. Uh, the algorithms, the processing is going to run now is going to try all the usernames that we're going to impute in the payload. Let's impute all the username, all the values we'll be imputing, right? So let's add the payload first. And of course, the payload is going to be the username value, which is admin here. These are username, right? And then we're going to add the payload. And then for the password value, it will be the password itself, which is password. If we see here, I'm highlighting it, right? And then we add the payload, right? Okay, now it's giving me a heads up on, right? So these are the two payloads, right? Of course, this is we're just going to use a simple list. We'll just add maybe some passwords and then some usernames, right? We can even see the user token itself. It's even here. Wow. So if you want to carry cross-site scripting, you can also do that as well. I don't know why it's not coming up. I don't know why it's not coming up. Give me a second, guys. Payload count, request count. So let's just add username. Let's put admin as part of the username, right? Request count says 2. Now let's clear this. Sorry, guys. I don't know why this is not coming up yet. Oh, is it? Have I paused the reach? Right. Okay, great. Yes, so this is the payload here. This is the payload position. That was what I was expecting to see, but I don't know why I wasn't seeing the payload. This is the payload here, right? And of course, we have two payloads. We have two payload types. We have for admin, we have for username, and then we have for password, right? For username and password. Give me a second. Let me try again. I don't know why I'm not seeing this. It's supposed to normally come up with the payload position. It's not bringing that up. All right, let's go with this. Let's go with this since we already have this opened as well, right? So what we've done here, you can just add the different usernames and password that you want to use to carry out the attack, right? Let me try snipe attack first. So there are different types of attack you can carry out. You can carry out a cluster bomb, you can carry out a pitchfork attack, a battle ram attack. Right, exactly. So we want to do a cluster bomb attack, right? We want to do a cluster bomb attack. I think we've seen the payload positions now, right? So for the first one, we have admin, right? The first one we have admin. Let's create a payload. Let's create our payload for the username, right? The username. So let's say admin user. So this is what we want to use to know to check if these passwords and usernames will actually work. And this is how attackers actually think, right? This is how they think. So we're going to add another thing again. Let's put this. as a username. Let's put another thing again as a username. What do we put as username again? Right, our payload count is 4. Then for the password, let's just start with this. For the password, we also want to add something that can match the password. Okay, let's put this. What else can we use? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's also use user. And one more, French. Right? Now, if we're going to carry out an attack, we are going to start the attack now. These are request count 16. Right? So we want to carry out a cluster bomb attack. We want to carry out a cluster bomb attack. Of course, if you look at the parameters here, we have actually replaced our username values, the original values that were there. We've replaced them, right? We've replaced them already. So we need to note that without these payloads, Bobsus cannot inject anything. They can't inject anything into the login from Bob. So you need all of these parameters. You need to actually put in all of these things. Normally, you can also pick from here. So Bobsuit also has other payload types. You can use character blocks and all of those things, right? You can use that as well to simulate your attack. You can use it to simulate your attack. So what cluster bomb does is it combines different combinations, right? It combines different communications. So it will combine all these ones. It will try username, password and password and 1, 2, 3. It will, that's what it will be doing, just to, be sure that it is to the attacker wants to know whether they are very close to the password or the username. Now let's carry out the attack. Wow, you can see it brought back an error response. It's because we have not yet launched this guy. It's still creating. That's why, right? You see the response is bringing back 0 response. It's not getting, access to that application, right? Because we have not launched it. But before, like I said, when I simulated earlier, these were the results. It brought back 302 status code. Of course, this is like a redirection to maybe like the landing page. Of course, this was a bad login. It wasn't successful. So what's it called? As a hacker, you want to analyze this result. You want to say, is it possible that I can also, get very close to the password? They keep trying, keep trying. And if you don't see these things, all these events happening on your application, on your logs, it is a logging and monitoring failure. And of course, an attacker will leverage on that, right? An attacker will leverage on that. What does the attacker see? What do you think the attacker sees? The attacker wants to see login attempts, whether it's successful or it's a failure. That's what the attacker wants to see. And if you come back here, we can see all the we can see the payloads here. You can see the brute force, you can see we've done a brute force attack on the website based on the simulation we had before. So just imagine your monitoring solution, no rate limiting, like we mentioned here, no rate limiting, visibility gaps in API is a problem, right? No IP blacklisting. Normally, your IPS, your intrusion prevention systems, and your IDS are supposed to, flag down malicious malicious IPs based on the rules that you've defined, based on the policies the rules you've defined for your policies, right? So of course the attacker here thinks nobody is watching me. I have everything. I can do everything I want to do. I can brute force forever. A normal system should know that a normal monitoring system with very good IPS and IDS that has been implemented, as soon as they get something in relation to this, immediately that system is supposed to blacklist this IP, and this IP will not be able to carry out this attack, this brute force attack anymore, right? But of course, if this is not reflecting in your system and your system is not picking these events because you've not configured your systems, prove come up with the appropriate rules that your systems will be able to detect all of these events, then it's a problem. Of course, the hacker is going to say nobody is watching. I'm going to keep on brute forcing till I get in. Of course, we can see the status code here. The attacker is going to analyze all of this data. Of course, even if it's a bad login, yes, he didn't get the 200 status code, and it has redirected him maybe to the login page. It's not a problem because already the value on the lens actually signifies something. Let's take note. It actually signifies something. So if we see here, the values are very close, 360, 336, 337. The real password is admin, the real username is user, the real username is admin, and the password is password. Of course, we can see here that the length says the combination actually gives 336, 337. That means the attacker would know that they are very close to the value, like they are very close to the username and password, that they've almost gotten it right. So the attacker wants to do analysis. He will keep on trying, of course, till he gains access into your system, right? So imagine username or password, brute force attack going on. Your server does not slow down, or no alerts, nothing. That's a login and monitoring failure. So what have we been saying? We've been saying, okay, we've been looking at the practicals. How can we launch into Bob, and intercept traffic from the vulnerable websites? And of course, like I said, we've simulated that before. And we've also logged in to, we, of course, based on the login, we're able to send requests to the intruder. We sent interest requests to the intruder. And of course, we set attack positions. These were the attack positions, password and username. Do we have any questions, please? And then we started the attack. After starting the attack, of course, after starting the attack, it came up with this result. And that is what we're analyzing. That is how an attacker will be analyzing it. So you can keep on carrying out this attack, repeat, repeat. It will keep going, till he gets the password, and you get a 200 status code. That shows they have gained access into your system. So how can we actually practically link this to security logging and monitoring failure? So we can actually do that here. All we just need to do is come to the container that was used to launch that application. Of course, it's still running. It has not come up yet. Okay, it's here. Let's see. Let's start it. I think it should start now. It's not yet. Okay, it's not yet running. I think we still need to wait. Right? We still need to wait a bit. So all we needed to do, let me check. Let me check, guys. Wow, database still coming up. Okay. Right. Exactly. So our database is up and running, right? It's not yet. It's not yet. It's still running. Okay, I thought it was. It's still running. Okay, great. So all we would have just done here, we would have come to our Docker here to see the logs. Of course, we'll see the logs here. And then if we click on one of the containers used to launch, let's take for instance, let's open this one. We can see log here. We can see the logs. So the log is supposed to show us everything, that every event that has been captured on our application, because we launched the application through our container here, right? Of course, it's going to show us, normally it's supposed to show us all of these things here. It's supposed to show us all of these things here: success, failure, revoke, timestamp, integrity of, it's supposed to show us everything: who's had access, which IP address, what kind of HTTP requests, right? It's supposed to give us all that information in the log. But when we don't see that information, that means it's a login and monitoring failure, right? It's a login and monitoring failure, right? So that's what it actually speaks to. That's what it actually speaks to. So if we come back here, we know that it's a problem, that the attacker can keep sending out more brute force sniper attacks to your application, right? So this is the practical thing here. This is the practical thing here. You want to use Bob suit to intrude. When it comes to practicals, you want to use Bob suit to intrude on your application, your vulnerable web application. Attack will be silently accepted by your application because you have not, configured your application to be at, to be very secure. You've not configured your application to be very secure, So the attacker has, of course, is silently, attacking your systems, and you won't know. And that's what happens. It happens a lot within organization. As a defender, you are supposed to see within these logs here. As a defender, you are supposed to see your repeated login failures. Somebody is trying to, different using different username. As a defender, you need to see all of those things. So as a SOC from the SOC team, they should be proactive enough to ensure that their systems are secure and all these parameters are logged, right? You want to see all these parameters are logged. Suspicious login patterns. Someone logging in America and then someone logging in Europe. Known attack usernames. Admin, especially if you use default passwords and default password, they will get you, right? They will get you, right? Unexpected access times or geolocations. Those are the things. Those are the things. And of course, it may not necessarily show up on the log of the application. Because why? The application is misconfigured. So this is what we are talking about here. This is what we are talking about here. It's a real application failure. This is what we are talking about here. It's an application failure. And of course, we know your defense is in trouble. Your defense is in trouble. And this is how a lot of applications fail. And people are able to breach your data when proper security logging is not done, right? You have a lot of brute force attacks. Brute force attacks are noisy. You will not see the alerts. Log is broken. You are not seeing some parameters, some events. It's a problem. So what are you supposed to what are the things you're supposed to see? These are the things you need to see, right? These are the things you need to see. You need to see all of these things, right? You need to see all of these things. Of course, the attacker has brute force multiple login combinations, which we see here. He has done multiple login combinations. He has brute force multiple login combinations, and your application has accepted all of them without proper alerts or detection. So the attacker is very happy. He will keep guessing usernames, password. The SOC team will not know. The security team will not know. You know, no account his account is not locked out because you've not defined the rules there. No warning emails, no admin alerts. So this happens real time. And of course, this will lead to breach because by the time he's able to gain access to your application, there's going to be a breach. So for best practice, we need to have all of these things factored in when we are monitoring events. We need to log all of these things. And this is why OWASP are considered security logging and monitoring failures as one of the top 10 critical risks. It's a very high risk. It's a very high risk. It's a very high risk. Let me check again if our application has been launched. Not yet. All right, great. That brings us to the end of the class. Do we have any questions? Do we have any questions? Mr. Honesty, do you have any question? Mr. Richard,
Okay.
do you have any question?
I don't have any question, but I'm lost. Okay.
Where are you lost? Please tell me where you are lost and let's find you. Mr. Richard, any question?
From your installation of your doc software to the end.
From where to where?
From the installation.
From the installation. Have you installed the software now? Have you installed Docker? Mr. Honesty, are you there? Mr. Honesty, are you there? Mr. Richard, do you have any question, please?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay, yeah, where do you say you are lost? Let's try to find you, sir.
I said from the installation of the doc software to the
Which
end of
of
the
the
lecture.
software? Which of Docker?
Docker, I'm talking about Docker software.
Okay, yeah. So like I said, Docker is only used to launch the application that we wanted to use as a case study, right? Of
Okay.
course, we wanted to carry out a brute force. What's a brute force attack? I've been saying brute force attack. What's a brute force attack?
Brute force attack.
So a brute force attack is trying to use different combination of username and password, to gain access, to force access into an application's resources, right?
Yes, of
It's
username.
just like, for instance, you go to the market, maybe like you go to the market, and then the you want to buy a shoe, and then you don't know your shoe size, and then the owner of the where you're buying the shoe, the person keeps bringing maybe different sizes till one size fits you, right?
Yes.
That's a brute force. So when the size now fits you, your leg enters into the shoe, and then you can move with that shoe, right?
Yeah.
So we can also relate it to applications and systems, right? We can also relate it to applications and systems. So brute force, you are trying to use different combinations of password, right? And we
Honesty,
store.
mute your mic. Honesty, mute your second mic, please.
Okay, sir.
So we can see here that we try to carry out the attack. If you come here, we have the cluster bomb attack. You have the sniper attack, right? You have the sniper attack, and then you have the cluster bomb attack, where you have a combination of different usernames and passwords, right? So how were we able to get to these points? Of course, when we launch if the application, if this application had, if it had been launched, we would have been able to go to the application. We'll log in the website here. We would have logged in the website here, which is what I tried to do, localhost. Right? We would have logged in here. Of course, it can't log in yet because the application has not been launched, right? It has not been launched. However, if we go to the containers, it has already been created, but the database has not been created, right? The database has not been created, right? So when that happens, we know that when that happens, when we are able to log in into the site, we put in our credentials. What are our credentials? Our username and password. And of course, we are going to launch Bob Suit. Bob Suit would have been launched. And when we launch Bob Suit, we just come to proxy. But before we come to proxy, we are going to bind our ports with the container. We are going to bind our ports with the container. Our port here is port 8080. We'll be binding it with the created container image, right? So we can track all the requests, post and get response, requests and response, right? And of course, when we open proxy, we'll come to HTTP history. HTTP history shows us all our transactions, what we've been doing, how our interaction based on this application, right? How we've been communicating with the server, client server communication, how we've been communicating here, right? So of course we see that it shows get post, and of course we are going to send posts. We want to attack, we want to do a brute force attack on the application. And because we're already tracking the application, we see here that there's an HTTP history that tracks everything that is being done. What that is everything we do here in this website. We're taking, for instance, if this has loaded and then we've logged in our credentials, right? And then we send this to intruder. How do we send this to intruder? We just right click on this particular post request, right? And we send it to intruder. Immediately we send it to intruder, the intruder is notifying us that it wants to initiate an attack, right? So when we click on intruder, we see the attack, right? Are we following? Are we following?
Yes, we are following.
All right, great. And then, of course, we want to include our payload. We want to include our payload. Our payload type here will be our username. Our payload will be our username value and our password value, right? So we want to do this. We want to do this. We want to add our payload. Admin, we've done that already, right? We also want to add the password. We can see our login credentials here.
that we are able to track using Bob suits, right? And then we also want to add our payload for this. What kind of attack do you want to carry out? Is left to you. Do you want to use a sniper attack? So a sniper attack in this case, you're giving Bob suit a number of passwords or usernames that they will use, it will keep trying, to authenticate with based on these credentials, based on these values, this password and username values. It will combine with these ones. Or are you going to do a cluster bomb attack? So a cluster bomb attack here, you can come here to add and include all the usernames and passwords you want to use, right? For your payload position. And of course, your payload type, there you can use character blocks. You can use character blocks, right? You can use recursive. There are a lot, but we are just using the simple list because we want to add passwords that we think vulnerable websites may use. They may use default passwords, defaults, you can be able to get their usernames, right? Admin, all of those things. So when you include all of those things there, this is what you expect. Once you carry out the attack based on the parameters you've imputed, you just click here, start attack. Once you start attack, of course, it's going to attack that application, that vulnerable website. And these are the results you get. So based on these results, it is expected that your application should behave in a way that it's able to, pick some very weird events. Someone is trying to log in several times. It's supposed to pick that. That's what we expect, right? It's supposed to pick that. But if it's not doing that, then it's a problem. And of course, the hacker already knows that your app, your monitoring system has a flaw. It's not picking those information, right? So it becomes a problem. It's a problem, and then the attacker keep, it's like, okay, let's keep going. Let's keep sending more attacks. Their systems have not detected any kind of, funny logins, and it keeps going. And from all these results, the attacker is able to, analyze these results and make his decisions. Even although this is a bad login, based on the status code, it's a bad login, but he's able to, infer from some of the things like the password, the length here. He can infer and tell you that he's close to getting the password and the username. And of course, what happens when he gets the password and username? He becomes a ghost within your system. And then you as an organization, you don't know there's someone within your system. So as a cybersecurity personnel or as a security expert, you want to check that, you want to be very proactive. You want to audit your systems and be sure that everything that has to do with monitoring and logging is adequate enough, right? So these are the things we need to, understand. I hope I'm communicating. I don't know if I'm communicating. Hello, sirs. Are we good? Do we understand? Do we understand the concept? although this is not up and running yet,
At least to some extent.
to some extent. So where is it that you don't understand? Please tell me, where do you not understand? What area is it that you do not understand? Mr. Richard, I haven't heard your voice. Where do you understand? So, we practice. So that's why I said try as much as possible to get Docker. And then,
Okay. Okay, so I've downloaded it now. But he
okay,
said
great.
before the installation will be complete, I should restart my Windows.
Okay, great. Okay, great. So when you do that,
Sorry,
so
Mr.
that's
Joseph.
fine.
Sorry about
All right.
that. Our time is fast spent, actually.
Yeah,
So what I
I
would
was going to
say,
hand it over to you now.
okay, no, so Mr. Honesty, what I would say is, you try to watch the video again, and also you can do some personal research on these things. Class knowledge is not enough to get on it, so maybe you do some personal research and also you watch the video. So, Mr. Joseph.
Yeah, all right. That'll be all from my ends. Thanks. Thank you. Thanks a lot
All right, thank
for
you so
having
much.
me.
So, Mr. Honesty, please endeavor to get on the video. The link will be posted subsequently, and the materials also, and also personal research. So, any more questions? Maybe next class before the beginning of the class, you can get on that. So, thank you everybody for joining us in today's session. It was really nice having you here. Have a great weekend.